Hello, everybody, and welcome into another exciting episode of Bloody Good Horror. My name's Eric, and I'll be your host for this evening, where we will be discussing The Strangers, Chapter 1. John, I feel like whoever programmed Ghostbusters Frozen Empire back-to-back with Strangers Chapter 1 was not taking all the factors, was not thinking about
too many
mental
colons.
wellness.
You can't have two
many.
colon movies in a row.
If there is a theme that joins the two films, it's colons. 100%.
It's more of a human centipede of movie programming.
Yeah, pretty much. We'll just have to see who gets the end of it next week, I guess. Joining me
the
tonight,
metered one.
first up from Manhattan, New York City, please welcome John Schnars to the show.
Hello, Eric.
Next up and last up tonight from the Bay Area of San Francisco, please welcome Rachel back to the show.
Hi, excited to be back.
Oh,
I'm glad I'm getting salty Eric in person this time and not just via the chat.
I would like to preface my review by saying I was in a great mood yesterday, John, so that was not a factor when I saw this movie. And today, I'm a little stressed, but I did go to the sauna before this.
Okay.
So I'm feeling much more mellow than I was last week.
Yeah, unwound.
A little bit, yeah.
Unwind-relaxed.
What is your sauna vibe? Do you are you naked in the
don't wanna
sauna?
know.
Do you get beat with the sticks?
Naked? What?
I mean,
I'm not.
Yeah.
I'm not. I don't live in
You have
San
like a
Francisco,
towel on, I
Rachel.
assume.
what do you
I'm not-
wear? Like a three-piece suit?
I'm not getting naked with the.
He has a
with
sauna
the-
outfit.
I'm not getting naked with the upstate New York boomers that I'm in the sauna with. Okay.
Wait, but what are... Okay,
I wear a
continue.
bathing suit.
'Cause- No. You go towel only. You do the towel. That's the
John,
polite thing
the
to do.
sauna is a box in the middle of the room that is the pool is in.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. That's not good.
Can you imagine where children are having swimming lessons?
Yeah. No, I get it
Okay.
now.
You're not
Okay.
strolling through this room.
Most
in
of
a
the
towel.
time, in the gyms here that have saunas, it's in the men's room, like the
Yeah.
locker room.
No, it's also co-ed. So
Cool. Bonus.
It's amazing.
Bonus.
Side note, have we talked about on the show, John, about how Sebastian Stan is playing young Donald Trump in a movie coming up? And the images of him in the Donald Trump costume look exactly like you.
Oh, okay.
Exactly.
All right. I mean,
Brutal.
listen, we
If you
have not
flipped up
talked
your hair
about
in
it.
just the right way, spitting image.
We have not talked about it, although I think Casey texted you and I a picture, and I was immediately like, oh, shit.
Here it comes.
This isn't great.
You just know it's coming.
I was like, I mean, it's just, I feel like it's for an audience of one,
That's not true. John, you wouldn't know this because you're not on Slack, but there was a whole discussion last week where somebody asked, has anyone ever started an official list of Schnarr's doppelgangers? And I was too busy to jump in and say, 10, 15 years ago, I started a list on Twitter of Schnarr's lookalikes. You can make a list and then attach
Yes.
people to it. And I made sure it was
Bring it
public
back.
so they all could see it and just be confused.
Yeah. That's cool.
Anyway,
I'm like, I don't know. I don't want that movie to exist. Is that a movie we need in our lives? I think not. But
if Trump goes to jail, will you go as jail Trump for Halloween?
sure.
Okay.
Jail
Will you go as
Sebastian
a Trump
Stan
supporter wearing the real men wear diapers and adult diapers? Because if so, we are having a Halloween party.
Oh,
Oh,
man.
man. It's going to get
Guys.
weird this year, fellas and ladies. Anyway.
When is that movie coming? Is it coming this year?
Oh, I assume so.
I just saw that
They're still
promotional
coming out.
thing. But
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
All right. Let's do it. Let's take a quick break and review The Strangers Chapter 1.
This is it, Jennifer. Your big break in TV. From the front time. Main feature.
So, saw this movie in the Haunted Theater.
So
Haunted
that's
Mall.
not a good sign usually.
Nah, I mean, I had a feeling it was going to be duty, so I went there. Highlights
Wanted to give
this
it the
week.
best chance.
Highlights this week were the air conditioner that sounded like a car from 1957 every time it came on. Like you would think it was like Foley or something in the movie every time. It was so, it was like,
It was that
like
Ford,
vibrating.
the pickup truck that they drive in the movie.
Yeah, that's what the air conditioner sounded like. And then a couple walked into this film 30 minutes in. It was actually really funny because they walked in right at
3 minutes long.
They walked in right as the stranger's action was finally going down. Like we finally have like some slasher shit happening. They then proceeded to. There's no assigned seats in this theater, which honestly is like archaic and lawless, and I don't like it. They walked halfway into the theater, which is where I was. I was 1 or 2 seats from the edge. They stood at the end of my row, so like maybe 3 feet from me or something. And just like the woman stared at me until her husband caught up with her. And then she looked at him and they had a conversation. The movie's happening, by the way. Mm-hmm. Then they randomly just turned around and went and walked in other seats. And I was like, does no one know how to act in public anymore?
Straight to jail. Straight right to jail.
Did the pandemic just ruin everyone when it came to like interacting in public?
Yes.
Like, Jesus Christ.
It didn't help. No. Yeah.
Meanwhile, luckily, I had already eaten my full dinner that I snuck. Chicken and rice for anybody who's interested. I didn't go with the fish. That seemed uncouth.
So I'm going to just cop to the fact that I saw a couple movies this week. I think it was it was this movie. I took in a Starbucks hard-boiled egg box.
That's an Eric move. I like that.
I felt conflicted about it. I
farty.
was like, I was just like, I don't know, is hard-boiled eggs a thing to eat in the movie theater? But you know what? I wanted it, and that's what I did.
Here's the next step that I need to do, and I'm actually I may order this live on the show because I forgot about it. I had this thought during the movie.
No, don't worry about paying attention to the show.
My problem is
Whatever
water.
you gotta order.
My problem is water. Spending $5 to $7 for a bottle of
crazy.
water during a movie is a goddamn travesty. But I can't go 2 hours without drinking water, dude. I'm like constantly desiccating.
Do you not sneak
husk.
things into the theater, or
But
you
I'm
just
already.
take a
But
water
it's
bottle? I don't think
summer,
they'll
so I don't
stop
have a
you.
jacket, and I'm already sneaking a meal in. Like I'm a
need a
little. I'm a
merce.
slight person, John. There's only
Backpack.
so much.
I do backpack.
Theaters will let you carry a backpack in.
Yeah, why not? What are they going to tell you? No.
I thought
Some,
that
like,
was mixed.
17-year-old is not going to be like, excuse me. They don't
I
even
thought
have
they
ushers
got
anymore.
I thought they got rid of that after Colorado, after all that shit.
You can take them whenever you want. They're just happy anyone showing
I
up.
guess
at
I'll
these
try
theaters
it. But
most
what
of
I
the
was gonna
time.
get is, you know, when you'd go camping as a kid and you have those telescoping cups,
Oh yeah.
like you go like that, and it becomes a cup. So I was just gonna sneak that in. And now this wouldn't work at the haunted mall because they don't have a water fountain. But I was just gonna sneak it in and just fill it up at the water fountain.
You know what? Just just put the things together to get a Camelback backpack and just sit there with your little straw.
Well, don't they probably make
That's
flasks
good.
that are very thin, right? So you can just kind of slide them in the pocket. That was my plan B.
Dude, a flask of water is not that much water though.
Yeah,
That's my problem. Yeah.
But then you're gonna have to pee.
Just take a backpack, for the love of God.
All right, I'll try it. That seems insane, and I can't imagine someone let me do that. but
Don't put a gun in it. You'll be
It's not
okay.
New York City here, John. People would be like, "Why the fuck do you have a backpack?"
So I
fair
mean,
enough.
I don't think that they're that concerned. The most egregious eating I ever saw in a movie theater was definitely not a member of the party that I was in. Brought a tray of Applebee's riblets into the theater and proceeded to eat them and toss the little
That
riblet
fucks.
bones over their shoulder.
Oh my God. That's just like
It was
a
full
whole
chaos.
behavior.
Yeah, it
Living
was.
like
It was
a
full
king.
chaos.
Oh my Lord.
A barbarian.
The world is their oyster. I love it.
I will routinely take a Starbucks or like a coffee into the movie theater, and they don't give a shit.
sure.
They're just like, whatever.
That's bold.
But they don't
white
serve
privilege you
coffee.
have,
Like,
John?
what if you're like, yo, I want a coffee? It's not like you're. If you walk in with like a bottle of soda, that's like they sell soda. Like you're being a dick. But
You just totally got like a New York accent when you say coffee.
all right.
All right, John.
You're welcome.
Please bring us the word of the day. I'm actually hungry right now. I might have to sneak some food into the show. I just ate.
Say.
Eric, today's word is aberrant. That is ABERRANT, aberrant. departing from an accepted standard.
Like eating riblets in a movie theater.
That would be
That
aberrant.
was
That's
very
aberrant
aberrant.
behavior,
Bones
for
over your
sure.
shoulder.
In biology, it means diverging from the normal type, as in aberrant chromosomes. Comes to us from the Latin aberrant, which means wandering away. Aberrant.
Love it.
It's a synonym for strange.
Ah.
I'm sending you guys a link to the cup I'm going to buy in the chat.
This is the longest fucking URL.
You know what?
gotta-
Fuck it. I'll put
Yeah,
it on
this is-
YouTube too. Here you guys
This is
go.
an
Can I post
aberrant
links in
URL.
YouTube? We'll find out. He pasted it in 2 comments. All right. Anyway, tell me about the strangers, John. I'm being the avoidant one tonight. So why don't you tell us about strangers?
The Strangers, chapter 1, directed by Renny Harlin, who, I don't know, do we want to do the Renny Harlin now or do we want to do it during the
Yeah, do
review?
Yeah, let's do it.
Renny Harlin is the most successful Finnish film director.
I was
going to
say he's of your people. Tangentially.
Sure. I mean, I
Does
have a
he
Finnish
look like
aunt, I think
John?
I mentioned. I don't
Love
know.
that.
I was confusing. There's an actor that I am
He's a
confusing
tall
him
gentleman.
for.
He's a big dude.
And I got to figure out who this actor is because his IMDb picture looks. But in any event, it's not that guy. But he is the director of such hits as Die Hard 2, Cliffhanger, I don't know, other movies, Cutthroat Island. He had a real moment. There was like a Renny Harlin moment in sort of the 90s.
A Renny Harlin-essence.
A Harlenaissance. We have, I would say, at this point in time, moved beyond the Harlenaissance. His last, let's call it 4 movies. No, his last 1, 2, 3, like 6 movies have not cracked a 6 on IMDb, and most of them I had never even heard of. So, you know, for what that's worth. The Bricklayer, movie called
Favorite.
Refuge. Class Reunion 3, which has a 3.7. on
Largely
IMDb.
like
That's
he's
very
a
bad.
dude. He's a dude with a little bit of name in Hollywood, right? It's just a bizarre choice to direct this movie. Like I don't know how else to say it.
Well,
It's
yeah,
strange.
and so-
it's strange, you might say.
We were discussing somewhat pre-show, and unfortunately for the listeners, we did not resolve. But so this is the third Strangers film. There was The Strangers, which was, you know, I would say a thing. 2008.
I would call The Strangers a top 10 of that decade and a classic horror film.
An iconic, true, yeah, I think that's
Iconic,
fair. It is
yeah.
an iconic horror movie at this point. Brian Bertino.
In fact, I believe we did a Bloody Good Horror list, and it was on it.
It was
for that
definitely on
decade.
it. I'd have to pull it up. Yeah, the top 25 of the decade. Brian Bertino wrote and directed. They then made Strangers Pray at Night, which I think was 2014. Does that sound right? I didn't look this
Oh
up.
my God. Is
As
that
I
how
was
long ago that was? Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
Could have been.
Which we can talk about it because I watched it right before. Like I had not seen it, and I just watched it like last week. Bertino like either wrote or was like a producer on that, but they brought in somebody else to direct the second one.
Oh, okay. I thought he directed it too. But he seemed pretty involved in that.
He
one.
was like
It's,
more involved for sure.
more so than this.
So this is now. I don't know that it's being marketed this way, but it is in effect a full reboot. So, and I did check. This is the one thing I looked up before. Strangers Pray at Night takes place in Ohio. That's at least what Wikipedia said. And in the movie, they reference the fact that they're driving to Provo, Utah.
So here's
Or
how I know
that's like-
that. Bertino is a local Cincinnati dude, I believe. And
Okay.
the NOTLP crew makes a cameo in Pray at Night. They're in the diner scene in the beginning in the background.
Oh, shit.
awesome.
Okay. So this movie is set, Strangers Chapter 1 is set in Oregon. It is just set in
Creepy
like
place.
random ass, like Pacific Northwest. Well, what the name of the town is Venus, I think, in the movie. I don't know if that's a real town, obviously, but like, so this is, it's both marketed as a prequel, but I would argue it's just a straight up reboot. Like they're just, you know, they're starting fresh, other than the fact that we have the 3 characters who I think have names, the 3 killers. There's like the hooded guy, There's one called Dollface, and then there's another one whose
I
name I can't
presume
remember.
these are new actors.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. You don't see their
But same,
faces.
but
in
same
this-
mask though, right?
The
Same
masks are the
mask.
same.
I don't
yes.
know about the. I assume the women were the same, but the guy was the same in both movies because he was huge. Like he loved playing that character. He started doing conventions and stuff.
He has a real way about him. His gait.
Well, in
sort
the
of-
first
he's
two
just-
movies, but
yeah.
I'm not sure if it's the same person.
No, yeah. It will. Who knows? And it doesn't matter, is what I would say.
Well, the IMDb knows, and I'm gonna look it up.
Okay, no, go to town. But yeah, I mean, so what's the story here? You've got a boyfriend and girlfriend. They're driving from New York City, I think. I think they like lived in New York City together, at least the way they talked about it. She is going for a job interview in Portland. Her name is Maya. His name is Jeff. They're just like, I don't know, Rachel, you tell me if this is an appropriate way to describe people, but they're like generic white people couple. They are like, they are like
I think
kind
you
of
can say
as
whatever you
generic.
want about white people, John. You
Well,
want one.
But I'm just saying, like, in this day and age, it's almost weird when you get a generic white people couple at
In
the
a
center of
movie,
this
yeah.
movie.
Sure.
And like even I was like, God, these are the most boring white people I've ever seen, you know? Like,
That's
so
funny.
they, you know, they're fine. They're like unobjectionable. I don't know. I mean, there's things to object about them, but
Very
the
quick.
characters themselves are mostly fine.
Sackhead, or he's called
Sackhead.
Guy in
Of course,
Mask
why
or
not?
something in the first film. It's called like Guy. The guy's name is Man in Mask in the first film. Kip Weeks was the guy's name.
Yeah,
And
classic.
you know what? I take it back. He was not in this sequel, so it's been 3 different people. So
There we go. Couldn't get him. Kip, he was very busy. They're driving. They get to Venus because they need to eat something. They just, whatever, they need to stop and eat. They stop at a diner. They have like weird interactions with the people at the diner. They then try to get back in the car. The car won't start. And the local mechanic shows up and is like, I'll fix your car. And so then the boyfriend sort of accuses him of breaking the car so that he has to stay and fix it. And then one of the diner people is like, well, you should stay at the only Airbnb in town. Which, like, we can get into it, but like Airbnb is like an app and it has lots of like hurdles to get your place listed on it. And you have to carry insurance and Airbnb offers you like whatever. So, but they go stay there and then the strangers come and there's attacking for, I don't know, 45 minutes. Like it felt like forever and, not that long at the same time.
It felt like forever before the attacking started, frankly.
Even when it's going on, it
Let's
felt like
get
forever.
it together. I know what fucking happens. It's the strangers. Let's
Well,
do it.
yeah, all right, we can talk about it, but
Let's
go
get to
ahead.
it.
sorry.
Rachel, what'd you think? And you had a strange experience because you watched this first.
Yeah, it's the only Strangers movie
So,
I've seen.
oh, you
Oh,
did
you still
not
haven't
see
seen
the
the
others
other
at all.
ones.
I haven't had time.
Honestly,
Oh,
I fear
wow.
that this whole thing has now been ruined for you, if I'm being honest, because it's such a. You ever seen that meme that's like a horse, and on one side it's like photorealistic drawn, and then it slowly turns into a child's drawing? That's the difference between this and the first Strangers. is what I
Really?
would say, yeah.
It's
Okay.
But it's like somebody who's bad trying to do the same exact
well,
thing.
and I would say Pray at Night is in the middle. It's the middle horse.
Yeah, sure.
It's
Yeah,
the middle
we can
one.
talk about it. Sorry, Rachel, I interrupted. Go ahead. What do you think?
No, it's fine. I mean, I was gonna actually start off by saying essentially that like I still haven't seen the other films, so I have nothing to compare it to, and yet somehow it still managed to feel a little derivative as I was watching it. What scenes and sort of moments and ideas that I have learned about the strangers just through like cultural osmosis, I feel like all of them were present in this film, down to like the motivation and some of the scenes, the actual scenes. So I knew just from that this was going to be a spicy episode. Both of the actors are actors that I have enjoyed sort of in YA space before, and I was excited to see what they would do in this. I find them both individually to be very likable. And I
Where
think
did
that
he
they're-
come from? I know the girl was on like Riverdale or something.
Yeah, so he was in Teen Wolf and Cruel Summer and some other things.
I think I've
Yeah.
seen some of Cruel Summer. It was a horror-y teen show.
yeah,
About a summer
yeah.
camp. Yeah, I saw some of that.
Yep.
Kind of
So
interesting.
I think he was in the second season of that, and he's like someone that we cover on my publication all the time. So like, I was excited to see what they were doing.
Okay, is he okay?
Yeah.
I had a hunch.
Yeah. I mean, there was not exactly the spiciest chemistry between the two of them, shall we say.
That does kind of explain some stuff. All
I
right,
had a feeling.
interesting.
I mean, they're so attractive that it should be spicy,
Yeah.
but it's
Part
just
of it is
not.
he's beautiful, honestly.
Yeah.
Like, I was like, this guy can't be straight. He's too beautiful.
He's too pretty. But yeah, I mean, so like, I don't know. Like, I think some of the ideas that they're going for are interesting. Like, you know, like what happens with love in the face of mortality is an interesting idea. I think that that my understanding is there's not a lot of motivation in the other films, so that this one begins sort of introducing some potential red herrings or perhaps motivation that'll be picked up in the next couple of films. I thought was
It seems
interesting.
fully like it's gonna have to do with this town, and they're gonna start telling us who the strangers are, which I don't want to know.
Yeah. I mean, I haven't seen the other one, so I have no attachment to the
Like,
not knowing.
You know,
but
I'm sorry, we're jumping around, but 100%, right? One of those women is that really nice woman from the diner, right?
Yeah, I mean, I was waiting for her to like take
come
the
on.
mask off at some point,
Yeah.
and I was
Yeah, I
just
know,
gonna roll
I
my eyes. But
That seems like exactly where they're going with it, and I hate it.
could also be food truck. Like basically anyone with a pamphlet is now suspect. So like the culty
oh
stuff,
my
I
God,
thought
I
was
forgot
kind of
about the
interesting.
religion stuff.
I mean, that is
boy.
what the next couple of movies are going to be about, is like religious fundamentalism, I think, which makes sense in rural Oregon. But yeah, I mean, I think the problem is that there's just like no real tension in this movie at any point. Everybody acts very absurdly so that you can't really root for them. And I knew we were in trouble.
Infuriating.
Yeah. Like when she's just like smoking weed and not locking windows, I was like, come on, girl. This is not how we move through the world.
No.
But yeah, like when they cut away from that first kill and it like, I was like, oh, we're in trouble because I require, if I'm going to watch a slasher, it better be gory AF. So I don't know. I'm intrigued, but
I don't know that they're well. The other films, the second one definitely has slasher vibes. The first one I would call like a '70s style terror film, like a home invasion kind of deal. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Because I think one before they die at the end in the first one, the only person that dies gets shot by one of them. It's just them being terrorized the whole time. The second one does definitely turn more like '80s slashery.
The body count is higher in the second one.
There's an actual body count.
Yeah,
for sure.
and this one, there's no body. I'm trying to think. Wait, what? When you say they cut away from the kill, which kill?
They shoot the,
at
Airbnb
the very
guy.
beginning. At the very,
Oh,
at the
finance
very,
guy.
very, like literally the opening scene, the guy that they see in the
Oh,
poster.
oh, yeah.
And
yeah,
I was
yeah.
like, uh-oh.
Yeah, sorry,
I think
forgot
the
about that.
issue is they come from like YA space. And so they assume like young people maybe are following them to this movie. So it's a little
It's rated R.
When you say
though.
they, you
like,
mean the
why is this
actors?
rated R?
nail through the hand. I don't know.
That was gnarly, but
That's
that
like- I
doesn't
mean-
necessarily get you an R these days. John, what do you think?
Upper male nudity.
Wasn't even a lot.
I could use more.
This movie's really bad. Like I was ready for it to be bad. And I was like kind of like, like whatever. This is sort of as expected through the first like 20, 30 minutes. To your point, Eric, like or as we were saying, there's so little happens for like almost an hour. And even when the stuff starts happening, it's so limited in terms of where they can go. Like they've sort of hemmed themselves in narratively in terms of what they can do. And I mean that in a couple ways. Like we know that the killers have to survive. So like, or I mean, I guess in theory,
there's no tension.
there's no tension.
Yeah.
Um,
You know,
there's only
sorry,
two people.
continue.
There's two people to be killed. And so, you know, Rachel, as you said, they try to do a lot with the love and the relationship and, oh, are we going to get married? I don't know. Like whatever. That shit just did not land at any level. And I agree. Like they're generally, I didn't hate the actors. I was sort of like, they're fine. Like they're good. But the relationship didn't really work.
you know, and it's even
I didn't
that's
give a
like
shit about them.
weird. Even that's a weird warmed over thing from the original Strangers. Like in the original Strangers, they've just come from a wedding and they're staying at the cabin. And then I think that they might be on the verge of breaking up or something. So there's like a little couple
Yeah.
tension, whatever. So they just sort of took that and like changed it a little bit. Like it's
Yeah, I mean,
crazy.
I don't know. Like the whole bit about him having to like get on the motorcycle and then go into town to get food. He's in town for like 30 minutes of this movie.
And I'm sorry. Sorry, John.
No,
I
go
can't- I
ahead. I
can't-
mean, it's terrible. It's really like it's
Here's
really
the thing,
bad.
okay? The first 30 minutes of the movie are filled with the longest series of the most infuriating fucking decisions you've ever seen characters make in a movie. Like that creepy chick has already knocked on the door at least once when he leaves on the motorcycle. If I'm that girl, there's no fucking way in hell I'm staying in that house. Get on the back of that motorcycle. I don't care if you don't have a
Yeah.
helmet. It's way safer than staying in that goddamn house, right? Then there are like multiple things that happen that definitely are signaling to her that there is someone in that house, and she just keeps going back to like slasher mode. Like, you know what it is? It's like
she goes
watching,
to smoke weed. She's like,
this
I
is
don't
what
know,
it is.
This is
And
weird,
then she
but
smokes,
now
right?
let's-
Because when you're
let's
hearing
get
weird
high.
sounds and you think someone's in the room, the best thing to do is just get high. Like this movie is like Stab. It's like this is to strangers what Stab is to Scream. Only this is not supposed to be a satire, right? Like they are making the most insanely dumb decisions you could possibly imagine. So then he gets back to the house and she says, she's like, I saw a human person in my face. And it's his response is the funniest mix of like, he's trying to validate her, but he's still gaslighting her. He's still like, no, it was, you saw this painting on the wall. And I'm like,
the painting.
I was like getting distressed during this part by how angry it was making me, the decision. And because it is such a boring, like rote, weak remake of the first movie, again, like you know exactly what all the beats are. So you're just like, can we fucking get to this faster? Like, sweet Jesus.
Yeah.
We can't
And
because
it-
it's 3 parts.
I want to also like really just it brings into contrast even more clearly how smart the decisions in Strangers Pray at Night were, because I remember when they announced the sequel to that, we were all kind of like, how do you make a sequel to The Strangers? Like what the hell? And they did it by just making a different kind of movie. It's not a terror. It's not a home invasion. It's more of like, I think at the time I likened it. It's like Friday the 13th Part 2. It's like, let's add in more people. Let's make it more over the top, more slashery, and just have it be like a good time. Lots of chase scenes and instead of setting it in a house again, they set it in this huge sprawling
trailer park.
trailer park. It's freaking brilliant. So you get the characters then get to run around and you can set up new and unique scenes everywhere. And it's so disappointing to just be back in the house with this couple watching the same thing. And I get it, we're old. Like this movie came out almost 15 years ago. It's probably aiming for a younger audience who maybe hasn't seen the original. Fine. But even then, it's like someone has not seen any horror films made for the last 30 years and they don't like horror and they just made a shitty version of what they thought a slasher was in like 1993.
Look, I mean, if what you're saying is true, why even bother with the Strangers IP? Like, what's the point?
Because they must have data that says that and apparently it was the number one. I don't know if it was number one movie.
No, it was numbered like
Somebody was
2
saying it's
or
the number
3.
one horror film opening of the year so far or something.
No, that's not true. It did like
can't be
12 million.
true.
I mean, it did fine. Like, it did well enough that they're definitely
Yeah.
releasing the next 2 theatrically. They
Well,
also
at
look
least
like
the
this is
next
a
one.
it's a low budget movie, right? Like it was like an $8 million movie. I think it made 12 at the box office. Like it's gonna do fine. I guess but like Eric, the point you're making. If they just didn't call it Strangers, if it was called like,
It
the
wouldn't be in
Scary
theaters.
Cabin,
Aberrants.
yeah,
This would be on.
Aberrant Chapter 1.
This would be maybe on Shudder, if it wasn't called Strangers. Though it would not be in theaters.
Yeah, I mean, I guess, but like, isn't that what's triggering us at some level? It's
Sure.
just like you
But it's still
made a
bad.
shitty version of it. It would be bad either way, is my
Yeah.
point. I guess like you could market it. I don't know, like horror.
And I think honestly,
works, like without
I think the
names
ending
sometimes.
almost, the ending almost made me more angry about all of it For starters,
Which part?
I hate how much we're just stealing all the beats from the first one. Like literally, she says the same thing at the door when they're like,
That's
"Why
in
are-"
the
they
second
go-
one too. She
they
says the
go-
same exact thing.
They go, "Why are you doing this?" And they're like, "Cause you were home." And it's like, all right, like, could we change the words a little bit? Like, do we need to? Because now you're just reminding me of the better movie. But then she wakes up in the hospital at the end, and you realize like that's how they're trilogying this. They're gonna like Tommy Jarvis it and have a returning survivor. But then the only way that works is if there's a whole like conspiracy in this town and we're going to find out who the strangers are. It's such the wrong road to go with this movie.
Well, I mean, there's two places I want to go. I'll
They're
start with the one.
John, let me just pause at this last thing and then we'll stop.
Sure.
They're called the strangers, John.
Yeah.
You're not supposed to know who they are.
No.
Stranger danger,
And
right?
they would be strangers to the town, right? Like, okay, so let me start with maybe the less important one, but like the strangers in this movie, they're also not that good at doing the killing. These guys get away from them pretty effectively for like a long period of time. And it's not because they're like super competent. The girl is high as hell. So she would have
Dude.
been in a lot of trouble. That to me was like was super problematic. In the first movie and certainly in the second movie, I mean, whatever, the second, not to spoil the second movie, but they get killed, the strangers do, but they're at least like more effective. Here, I don't know, what are we supposed to take away from this? Like they're not that menacing even.
It's like they try to. They set it up like they're trying to taunt them. Because there's times where they have them trapped and then they let them go. I can't remember if that happens in the other movies. I feel like maybe there's a little bit of that going on. But, presumably they have access to this house and they seem to clear some of the tools out of the shed, but they didn't go all the way upstairs and get the gun.
No, I don't think they had access to the house because this is the other thing. And this was my other path. Like, they're fucking destroying this house. So it's like a rundown cabin. They can't be running this playbook all the time if they destroy the only Airbnb-able house in the town. Perhaps there's another
The only
house, but
Airbnb.
as I was saying at the
I like
beginning,
that John's concerned about the Airbnb market.
well, to
in
become
this
an
town.
Airbnb host, you have to, whatever, here's my EIN,
No,
and
no.
here's, my social security.
I will say I have one positive thing to say about this movie. They got me when the first moment where it turns and something it's real is when he axes through the door and it's like a jump scare and his face is there. That scared the shit out of me. That got me.
That's, when the chicken is bleeding onto the...
Yes.
Oh,
And then
yeah,
they
yeah,
go
yeah.
to the knocks again and then they go to the door
Yeah.
and then it's like, I think she's at the door again and saying her thing.
I
And then
just
it's
don't...
just him and he axes through it. It was pretty
I don't
scary.
think the reveal... I will be very surprised if the
How did they get
reveal
that chicken
is...
up there though and like
Well,
time
they
it
were-
perfectly so that it would only start bleeding when they were eating? That was
Yeah.
so telegraphed too. That whole scene was the editing in that scene was so stupid.
But I will be very surprised if in chapter 2 it's revealed that they knew the owner of this house. The owner of the fucking house gets shot.
He shows up to fix the. No, I don't. Yeah, I think you're right there.
I don't think the owner of this house is involved in any way, but
No,
clearly
but I
they're
think
setting
we
up
have
all these
seen
people in the town
all
to
those
be
people in
involved
the
at some
town.
level.
Some of them are
Yeah.
definitely in on it. Yeah.
Oh, for sure. I think we're gonna find out that it's related to this sort of culty thing, which I think also maybe part of what's going on with the people getting away early. It feels kind of like they keep sort of doing things to be like, you've made this choice yourself.
To ask a John
know?
question, what's the business model here?
Of the
What's the
town.
business model of the strangers here?
Well, they're just crazy slasher
Like,
killers.
to your point,
Yeah. I mean, cults are gonna cult,
but not true though. Not if they end up being people from the town with motivations.
I guess I don't understand.
Are the strangers in the cult or not in the cult?
I think the strangers are definitely in the cult, right?
Yes.
Because I mean,
But
they're
that's
feeding
confusing.
all of
Is
these
it
things.
literally just because they make a point when the couple's in the diner, they make a point about how they're not married, and everybody's like, "Oh, everybody's scandalized." Like,
Yeah.
is that it? They're
I think
just
so.
sinners.
Yeah, because they're like, why aren't you married?
Yeah,
So I'm
that one
guessing
lady.
that's the case. I mean,
I don't know.
I
Well,
don't know that
maybe.
it's insider knowledge, but I kind of asked about it when I talked to them, and I was like, there's these threads about religious fundamentalism that kind of get dropped, and they said, oh, we're going to explore that a lot more in the next 2 movies. So I
hate it.
suspect we'll be seeing more of that.
If the
Rachel, could you do me a
strangers,
favor? The next time you go on one of these press junkets for the next
Sure.
one,
Yeah.
could I join you and just tell them all the ways that they did wrong?
Yeah,
love
that'd be
that.
great. I think that'd
Be
be
amazing.
that's
Oh,
really
one
good
more thing. I
for
got this guy who's gonna come
Rachel's
and tell
job
you.
too.
I'll go out in a blaze of glory. The Strangers Part 2. That was as far as I could go with my career, folks.
Like
Come
I used
out.
to, it's funny because like 20 years ago, I used to so love the same thing, like interviewing people who now like I just want to get on with certain people to air my grievances.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel bad. They're lovely people, but this one is rough. I will say, the question is this bad because it is just the first act of a larger story? When we see
Well, that's
where it
part of why the
goes-
ending is so infuriating because you're like, so I just sat through all that just so they can set up a new thing. Couldn't we have jumped right to the new thing?
Well,
right?
they're
Like,
all coming this year, is my understanding.
Yes. Yeah.
good lord. So, okay.
Yeah.
Eric,
Everybody trying to be Ty West.
your end of year list could have multiple Strangers movies.
If I have to
this
watch
year.
3 of these movies by the end of the year, that might be what finally kills the show.
Oh no.
honestly.
R.I.P. BGH.
I don't know if I can do it.
Do you feel like there is enough of a masochist in you that if they all come out this year, you're going to have no choice but to watch them all,
Oh,
even
we're
if the second
watching
one
them.
is just as bad?
I mean, we're approaching like David Gordon Green Halloween levels of rage after this movie.
Whoa.
If I have to see another one this
Whoa.
bad, I'm going to be losing
See,
my mind.
I guess for
Whoa.
me, I was less angry than I was like pretty bored. I
It is
mean,
boring. Yeah, for sure.
it's certainly
You know
it's
why? Because I've
dumb.
seen this movie before.
sure, and there's like, but I actually would say it's dumber than a lot of the other. Like, there's so many things that happen in this. Why does the motorcycle work? The fucking house is falling apart.
And they
Yet he
take
can
care
get this motorcycle running no problem.
and they take care to rig the car to blow up. The motorcycle's literally right next to it.
No, the
Like, you didn't
motorcycle
see it?
does blow up when they go back out to get on it. It's the motorcycle that blows up. It's not the car.
But like the strangers were already there. Wouldn't they have just snuck in and disabled those cars before he even goes to town? Like none of that.
No,
makes sense.
the motorcycle only blows up after he comes back.
No. But what I'm saying is,
And then the other
why
car
wouldn't
is
they
the,
just go
the
drain the gas
Airbnb
out of him or
guys.
something before they even start knocking on the door?
Because they wanted him to go back in and have the weird interaction with the rest of the townspeople. Obviously.
That guy was so funny. The car guy. It's ridiculous.
I mean, I don't know. I've been to rural Oregon. It feels a little more accurate than you.
I'm sure
I
it's that.
believe it.
Yeah, I'm not. But like,
It is terrifying. Like anything north of San Francisco to about Portland, there's about a 12-hour stretch that you're just.
yikes.
I the other thing that I thought was quite dumb and then boring at the same time was the inhaler situation.
Yeah.
Who gives a shit? It literally has no
Oh, wait,
impact
wait,
on
wait,
the
wait,
film
wait.
at all.
Can someone explain to me? So okay, so he is supposed to be tension, John. He drops his inhaler,
Yes.
and then he needs it later. Could someone explain the plastic bottle thing? What the fuck was that?
I don't
He-
actually know.
He takes the plastic bottle at some point because he doesn't have his inhaler. He finds it in a plastic bottle on the ground. He twists it back and forth, and then like huffs it, and then he's fine.
After he dumps the liquid out, I just assumed.
Like, what
so
was that?
I believe what happened was he crumpled it up, and then it was the.
Is that to get hot
blowing-
air?
No. I think it was the
To heat the
blowing
air?
back into the bottle is like sort of a. It's like it's. Have you ever anyone who's ever had a respiratory? I mean, we all went through this, but the like thing where you blow into it and you have to make the ball go up, or you suck and make the ball go up. You've never seen these
No.
things. It's like a thing they give you in the hospital after you have surgery a lot of times, and it's like make sure you don't have liquids settling. I assume he has like some asthma or something, and so you blow into the bottle. But either way, who cares? It honestly had no impact. To your point, it's there to set up. It's the cheapest tension in the movie, and then ultimately
It's
has
just
no
cheap tension,
narrative
yeah.
impact at really any point.
You know
other
what's
than
worse?
he has to go to town to get the inhaler. That's
You know what's worse is the scene where he has one of the strangers, one of the ladies, with a shotgun to her head, and he does not kill her. and then he gets knocked out and the gun taken from him.
Yeah.
Because he wants her to lead him to the girlfriend, but in my head I'm like, listen, there's 3 of them. Kill 2 of them.
Yeah.
And then make the third one.
They'll
take
know
to
you
the
mean
girl.
business.
Yeah.
Idiot. I was saying things out loud in the theater during that scene. Like,
Well, and
I was
spoiler
complaining
alert,
loudly.
in Prey at Night, that's like one, I mean, where that movie gets most fun, at least in my opinion, is they do just start killing the strangers. And it's exactly as you say. They get a chance to shoot one of them and they fucking do it. It's not like, well, let me have a conversation with this stranger over here. No,
I've only
it's-
seen the movie once, but this really made me want to revisit it. It's just, I remember it being
So
fun.
I watched it before we watched this. I didn't love it. Like, I went in with pretty high expectations because I feel like it had kind of been built up over time. It's fine. Like, this one makes it look great,
Yeah.
but it's okay.
Okay.
According to the PubMed, you can use a bottle for a metered dose inhaler. So for those of you out there, the one
And what does it do,
educational
though?
moment. It helps with chronic prophylaxis in your lungs, I guess. I don't know. I think it just like maybe creates some sort
Naturally.
of like suction that maybe opens the bronchial tubes.
Oh.
It's how God intended us
Why
to,
does why does he need
solve
to
a-
twist the bottle then? To make it flexier?
Well,
So it
I'm not a
expands more?
doctor.
No, look, come on. We've gone too deep. And again, who gives a shit? It does
John,
not matter.
you can't show me that in a movie without explaining it to me beforehand.
I mean, I don't disagree.
Because then it's all I'm going to be thinking about while you want
Yeah,
me to care about other
clearly.
things.
Yeah. I mean, this is a
Chapter
rough
1. So when is chapter 2 coming? Do we know, Rachel?
we don't know yet. I was told soon.
Yeah.
So
Before or after the election? Because if it's anywhere near it, I don't know if I can handle that.
I mean, I'm guessing we're gonna get something in like late summer and then final, like, and then fall.
Oh my
you know what I mean? I
God.
Well,
think-
you would think for Halloween, right?
yeah, I think we'll get the final chapter. in
You
the
know,
fall.
real
That'd
fitting
be
that
my
we
guess.
review this movie too after my rant last week about the death of capitalism in Western society. Just the
Yeah.
snake eating its tail.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, the other thing I thought was kind of interesting, and unfortunately they dropped it immediately, was the killing of the landlord. I wish they had spent a little more time in that space because it was, I don't know, maybe that's another beat from the movie and I just don't know. But it was kind of an interesting kind of like now they are killers, or he's a killer as well,
Now,
kind of tension.
In the
that they
first
just-
movie, Rachel, so would it shock you to know that that's a very similar scene to something that happens in the first movie?
Okay, Jake.
In the first movie, they have a
Never mind.
shotgun, they're in
I'm
a
trying.
closet, and they have called their best friend to come and save them or whatever.
Oh, no.
He finally shows up. Do you know who that best friend is? It is Dennis from Always Sunny in Philadelphia.
Oh, shit.
And he shows up for 5 seconds and gets shotgun blasted in the face.
Where does that fit in the Dennis method?
The
It's the
Dennis.
S. Get shot.
Shot.
I was trying to figure out, when did Always Sunny start? Was it already on air in 2009?
Yeah.
So I mean, was there
It's been
ever
on
a time
forever,
before
but-
it? Yeah.
Right.
I think it was.
You know that show's crazy because it's still
it
on
was
the
still in
air, but
college.
like when you go back and start it over, it's 4x3.
Oh,
Like
shit.
that's how you know how crazy long ago that was.
I would guess it was 04.
Let me see. August 4th, 2005 was the pilot
Yeah.
episode
Okay.
titled "The Gang Gets Racist."
God, I love that show.
I mean, those early
Really,
episodes
there's
were
nothing
very
like that show.
aggressive.
It's kind of amazing.
Yeah.
That question was answered for me, John, by an AI bot on Google.
Oh, nice.
Dear.
Thank you, Gemini.
It's not. Is it Gemini now? Yeah, they
Yeah, I think
changed it,
so.
right?
Will you be downloading the Scarlett Johansson ripoff AI so that you can have your
I just
full,
saw today
her
she was
fantasy?
suing.
No, they
she
had to
was
shut
suing
that
them.
down.
Did they shut it down? I know she
Yeah,
was
yeah.
going to sue or whatever.
Yeah.
No, they shut it down. I mean, that was it was real bad. It's just like the most idiotic PR move you'll ever see. It's like
Pretty much.
your company may or may not be infringing on lots of intellectual property. Let's like do something super obvious and blatant, to call attention to it.
But then how
All
will
right.
the incels have their robo girlfriend? Think of the incels, John. Think of the incels.
Oh, Rachel.
I would wouldn't mind.
You are already doing it for me, so I don't need to.
I will hang out with an AI friend when that happens.
You can do that
Somebody-
right now. There's like
Yeah.
several companies
but
that
it's
offer
gotta-
AI.
Yeah, I want it to
Companions.
really feel like
Eric,
sentient
I don't know.
robot.
I worry. I worry for you.
you should.
I
you
know. I'm aware.
What do you
yeah.
want? Anything else about this movie?
I could not quickly Google a release date for Strangers Chapter 2. It's not announced.
I don't think they've announced it yet.
I wonder if they were waiting.
I mean, like I said, I think Rachel's probably right. I think the next one comes like probably in August at this point, and then you're gonna get October.
It's
That- if
wild
that's-
to think
if I were doing
that
it, that's what I
we
would do.
went a decade with only 2 Strangers movies, and by the end of the year there will be 5.
Yeah.
Well, again, every
That's a weird
article
stat.
about if you click on an article about this movie, it calls it a prequel. It's not a fucking prequel. It is just a straight up reboot. Like they're just.
No, and
It
I saw
basically
somebody in
ignores the
YouTube
fact
chat
that there's other
pasted
movies.
the director is calling it a reimagining, which is just it's a remake, dude. Let's
Yeah.
just call it what it is.
Yeah.
Sure.
I did see. I was trying to look up your question about like how Rennie Harlan got involved. The only thing I saw was that he was like, "Yeah, I didn't consult with Brian Bertino at all. It just happened too fast, and so we never
Sweet.
spoke."
Cool, cool.
Yeah.
Turned out great. So
I mean, hopefully Brian Bertino's cashing them checks, so I, won't worry about it.
I hope so. I hope
Yeah,
so.
he's got
Because he was kind of a dude that like that was the thing he did. I'm not sure he's done like a ton else.
He's done some other stuff.
Well, that's good. Let's hope Brian Bertino's. Even.
We've reviewed other Bertino films.
Have we?
Yeah. I think
Yeah.
did he do
What?
that like The Dark and the Wicked?
The
or
Dark and the
something?
Wicked. Yep, we
What's that?
reviewed that. I mean, Strangers
and the
Prey at Night.
Wicked.
He was involved with. Maybe just Dark and the
He's
Wicked.
doing something called Vicious.
What
the
is
Monster. I don't know if you guys saw The Monster.
Can someone tell me what the? Dark
I did
and the
not
Wicked is,
see
please?
Monster. He's only directed 5 movies, actually. It's less than I would have guessed.
So it's like a woman on a farm. I watched it a long time ago. I'm trying to remember exactly what happened.
Oh, I remember this lady's face,
yeah.
but I don't remember
She's
the movie
great.
at all. Oh,
She was
Yes,
in.
I do. It was pretty
Birth,
good.
Rebirth.
Yeah,
No,
yeah.
it was good. Yeah.
no, I do remember now.
And then the monster is
There was
the
a bunch
mother
of
and daughter
scenes with
trapped
the
in a car.
barn and like a hanging. There was like a swinging chain. Lots of like good sound design, creepy monster stuff. Yeah, I remember that.
All of his pictures on IMDb look like Joseph Gordon-Levitt.
Brian
that just me?
Bertino's?
I seem to remember him being a handsome fellow.
Well, let me tune into this.
I mean, maybe he's like a Latin version.
For some reason, every time I hear his name, all I think is Brian Boitano.
Well, that's yeah.
Yeah, he's a handsome,
Rachel, can I get a
handsome guy.
can I get a ruling? Joseph Gordon-Levitt ish.
Yeah. I think
Okay.
he's like kind of like. I mean, is he Latinx?
This says he was involved with the Black Coat's daughter.
Yeah, he was a
Oh.
producer on Black
Well,
Ops
there you
Stars.
go then.
So, yeah.
There you go. Which,
Mm-hmm.
by the way, that long legs gonna be great.
I got the
It's
new
gonna be
trailer.
great.
It's so scary. I am like
I
gonna be
kinda-
scared.
Did we talk about on the show though that like there was that week I was talking about some insane trailer I saw and I was trying to remember the name and we couldn't find it. They are
Was that Long
apparently in
Legs?
some markets we're playing that long legs trailer with a different, not real name on it. Like why
Yeah, they're
would you
doing
do
all
that?
kind.
It was like the room
honestly,
below or something like that.
The marketing for long legs has been the best marketing I've seen in a super
Yeah, but what's the
long time.
logic? I couldn't even when you Google that name that was on the trailer, nothing came up. Like how does that promotion?
I wonder if they were doing some sort of like test thing or they just wanted to get a reaction for it. But I will
Yeah, it
say
was
that like
strange.
Made
they were
Eric
putting
angry,
out
so.
like rounds of marketing where the name wasn't on it at all, and like
Yeah.
people were like speculating what
Well,
it was, that it was long legs.
It's also interesting that we were talking about this over chat or text, Eric and Casey and I, but the Nick Cage is in the movie and sort of like
Which
well,
I had no idea.
he's not in the trailer at all. So then we
He's
were like, wait.
unrecognizable.
Oh, interesting.
you're-
So wait,
yeah,
have you
he's-
seen the movie?
No, but I've talked to someone who has, and it's like it's the movie of the year. I've seen it 3 times, and it's the movie of the year.
Oh,
I get
oh,
that
boy,
vibe in the
Rachel.
trailer.
Okay.
Yeah,
And this-
I
yeah.
feel like it's giving Poughkeepsie tapes. Is what I feel when I
yes.
watch the trailer.
Yes, give me.
Which-
that sounds
You
amazing.
I
guys.
still it still
Sounds of
frightens-
Lambs meets Poughkeepsie tapes. That is
Like-
the center of my Venn diagram.
I still shudder when I just like think of the Poughkeepsie.
And Poughkeepsie
It's
tapes is
so
real fucked
disturbing.
up.
Oh man, it's so messed up. I love that movie.
Maybe this is the movie that like really
That
Mike
was where we
Moreau
learned
really
about lunars, John. Do you
breaks.
remember that?
Yeah, I do.
Yes.
Yeah.
Balloon people, fetishes.
Yes. Poppers and non-poppers.
Oh. That makes sense. You'd have, yeah. Do they pair together or only with the like kind?
I mean,
What goes with like?
I think it is. I think it is like the magnets, where you know what I mean. Like, because if you were a
Opposites.
popper, then
But if you're a
and
non-popper,
then
you
it's
don't
just
wanna-
like then you're like just gooning at that point. So
John's like UrbanDictionary.com.
Oh, guys.
I'm sure I brought up gooning last week, actually, didn't I? And John didn't know what it was then either.
oh,
And I didn't look it up then either. So
There you go. All right. Would you recommend this?
I'll ask my
movie?
kids one of these days.
oh yeah, do that, and I'd like to see that go down.
Rachel, would you recommend it?
I think as a standalone film, no. But I'm gonna like put a pin in it till I've seen more. Maybe
That
it's
is-
just as
Shockingly charitable. If I'm being honest. It's okay, Rachel. The people you interviewed aren't watching this show. You can tell us how you really feel.
I mean, I would say as a standalone, no, but I want to reserve some degree of hope because I am also going to watch the next two.
What's
that
it like
when-
having hope? What's that like?
I mean, I don't know. It's mostly just coffee. Like,
Caught you in a caffeine upswing. John, what'd you think?
A no.
Yeah, don't watch this
It's just like
movie.
a hard
In
no.
fact, go watch Strangers Pray at Night. That's what I would
Sure.
say.
all
right.
right, I'm on it.
Let's take a quick break and do some fan mail.
Rachel, what is the background?
Send feedback to
Oh,
info
you
at
can't recognize any of these people?
Or
I mean, I
on Twitter using
vaguely, I
hashtag
think, but-
Like this one in particular?
Join Patreon.
Oh,
back
I see.
episodes
I
and
see.
much more.
Okay.
Patreon.com/bloody
all I need to know.
good horror.
So
Gotcha.
that's Raquel. She's a demon.
I thought it was James Franco that's like over your right shoulder.
No, that's, well, I mean, essentially, his name's Tom Sandoval.
Oh.
I'm trying to beat the end.
And we're back.
You
I
keep
tr-
inviting me back. At
I
some
tried to come
point,
up with
shame
some
on
kind
you.
of hand signal to get you to stop talking before we came back, but fun fact, John, when I
Cut it
pasted
out.
that Amazon link in the YouTube chat, it actually came through as 4 separate comments. That's a
Well,
lot.
but, yeah, you gotta trim the links. You
All
know,
right,
it's-
whatever. Shout out to Liz and Levi who are holding down the YouTube chat tonight.
Nice.
There's
Hey,
more
guys.
people watching the video, but they're not chatting. I don't know what's wrong with them. I can't say.
Well, maybe
Show
they're on their
yourselves. Speak to us.
TV. They're watching it on TV, and so they can.
But if you chat with us live and say nice things about me, it's a really good way to get your comments on the show. So just keep that in mind. One email this week, John. I really enjoy it. It's from Kaylin Kissimmee. She's doing her umpteenth re-listen to the show.
Sure.
The subject is episode 118. Eric, does your phone take video? John, no. I just like that because it gives you an idea of how long we've been doing this.
Wow.
Yeah.
What phone do you think
That
that, was,
tracks.
John?
What in the Metro PCS is happening over there?
I
I
had
mean,
the,
I
like-
don't think the iPhone existed when we started. It was 2007.
No.
Like when maybe it had just come out.
I had the Motorola M2, I think it was called. It was like
Oh, let's Google
the
this.
one that looked like PDA, it looked like the fucking old.
Wow.
Palm Pilot
this
with,
thing
like, a
looks
full keyboard.
walkie-talkie.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was a good phone. I like that one.
There's some part of me that wants to just like go back to an old flip phone or a brick or something. I feel like my life would be vastly improved.
You know that's
if I
a
didn't
thing,
have-
right?
Yeah, you
So,
can get
okay.
those.
Yeah.
There are a couple companies that make smartphones that are literally just black and white, and all they have on them are like GPS, contacts, phone, like the very useful stuff you'd get in a smartphone, but no social media and like no app store. It's
you
like
imagine?
just the basics. And there's actually devices you can like pair your iPhone with that do that to the iPhone. They kind of override the operating system and do that.
I did actually. I broke my rule and spoke to someone on a plane the other day, and they gave me useful information. Apparently, you can set your phone to black and white, like to
Yeah.
grayscale, and then you don't. There's no desire to like
It's
get
less
on like
stimulating.
Instagram. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, why are you going to be on TikTok and black and white? You know. So
Yeah.
I might try that.
Although I do like that it's vintage. It's throwback, you know.
Yeah.
You know,
I
I
just
remember
like
Casey-
I just don't give a shit what anyone on social media is doing, and then that's why I don't go on. So it's
you're
another
not-
tactic just for you to try. Just
Yeah, but how are you going to see all the animals doing animal things?
John.
Don't
we
need
have
those
to be
either.
on. We have to be on social media so that we can explain things to you, John. You realize
That's
you're
fair.
just off
Yeah.
loading your burden to us.
I have Suzanne also showing me things on social media, which I explicitly ask her not to do, and she does anyway. So
I feel like we need a yes, yes, no segment. I don't know if you ever.
That was the best, dude.
right.
That
I
was so
loved
good.
those. That was like my
R.I.P.
favorite
that show,
episodes.
man.
Yeah.
That show imploded spectacularly, but it was so
It
good.
sure did. It sure did. But like, I want a John yes, yes, no, no. Like episode 1 is Gooners, and
come on, I feel like I could get there. I could get there quicker than you think.
I mean that's the opposite of gooning. So no, literally the opposite. So fail.
That's all I need to know.
Okay. The drummer from Foghat, we have one thread. Anyone ever have to deal with this kind of thing in real life? This kind of happened to my sister when I was very young. A guy made his way into the garage and was trying to get into the house through her bedroom in the middle of the night. My dad was, let's say, less than welcoming, and a sledgehammer may or may not have been involved.
Holy shit.
No, I've not.
Yeah, I've never had any.
Closest when I was living in Florida, actually, right after we started the show, the last weekend before we moved, there was someone just randomly climbed into someone's window at like 7:00 on a Sunday night, and they scared him off. There was some weird shit at that place.
I mean, when we were teens and like pre-teens, like middle school into like high school, we used to go out at night and act a fool. And I'm lucky. I feel like I'm lucky we didn't get shot. It was a different time. People had less guns back then.
Skylar says, when I was living with a group of friends, someone broke into our house while everyone but one guy was at work. He walked out of his bedroom in his underwear to find some stranger browsing my DVD collection in the living room. He immediately bolted out the side door, ran down the street, and was never seen again.
Holy shit.
If you're going to get
I
home
mean,
invaded, that's kind of the best case scenario. I
Like
feel
they were planning on stealing something, but then his collection was so good they were like, "Ooh, let me stop and look at this." The closest they didn't get in, but I back in my youth when I was still dating, I dated this one guy and it was not going well, and I knew it was not going well when he tried to kick in the door of where I was, and I called the police,
Dude.
and thankfully they came fast enough. But on site, they called him by his first, middle, and last name.
Oh my God.
And I was like, I think we're done. I think we're done.
Good gosh. Whew. Okay.
Yeah.
Let's see. There was something from Michael on Slack.
That's right, Liz. She knows.
What did I say?
Holy crap.
Yeah.
Yep. God. Where is that guy now? Jail, I assume. He did once call me after the incident asking me to pick him up from jail.
Wow. Bold.
Yeah. And then got threatening when I was like, no. I don't think
Why
so.
didn't you block?
This was like, I mean, I don't think I knew how to block at that time.
Pre-blocking? That was like that.
Yeah, like this was like pre camera
This was like-
phone.
this was like
pre
AT&T.
block. Yeah, it
Bell
might have been
Atlantic.
on like an actual landline.
Love it.
I guess I,
think
could have
even
star
then,
69 them and been
if
like,
I think you can call that. You could call the like phone company and be like, yeah, you know,
Right,
and they've got like a physical block and they put it on the line or something. I don't know what they did. But
All right, we have some just great Instagram questions tonight. Lovely Dead Adam says, why wasn't the baghead gentleman dressed up nice like he was in the other movies? Yeah, I think he was more than like a suit in the other movies, like a beat up suit.
Yeah, it is.
It is
And
a treatise on class and post-Trump America.
this is also they relocated to fucking middle of nowhere, Oregon. I will say he's driving the exact same car in Pray at Night and this movie.
I did notice that, the truck. Yeah.
So do you want them to be like, I know it's a requel, but will it be satisfying or frustrating if they find a way to actually tie it to the events of the original film?
Well, here's the thing. If at the end of chapter 3 or whatever the fuck they end up calling it, if the strangers are still alive, like, I don't know, then I guess like they could just move. Like
Listen.
the location isn't that.
If they somehow Final Destination 5 it, and it like comes around in the end, it might win me over. If we get
no way.
CGI like Liv Tyler and Scott Speedman from like
She's just
15
like,
years
yeah,
ago.
she's just strolling into like a house
Yeah.
and they're standing outside watching.
I think they just bring them in and they de-age them, and so they all look like
just make it
cat
as creepy as
versions of
possible with that
themselves.
de-aging technology. Yeah. What did I just watch that did that? That was so awful. Oh, it was Fallout. In the finale of Fallout, they
yeah,
de-age
yeah.
Kyle MacLachlan, and it's the worst fucking thing I've ever seen. It's
I wish
so
they could
bad.
just like somehow use Twin Peak footage and just like dub over it.
It was shocking, and the CGI was generally pretty good in that show.
Yeah,
yeah.
I
Oh
don't
my
know.
God,
I
it
was
was
just
so
sort of
bad.
like, meh, whatever. Like
Yeah.
it was not good, but
I was just distracting. Like you
They
see,
could have
he's
just
like
put a backward baseball hat on him. It would have been fine. It's like Saw rules.
he looks pretty young. Yeah, just like dye his hair, you know.
Yeah.
Dude, you can do the Better Call Saul technique and like just put like a layer of like Vaseline over every frame and
go.
make the lights low.
that's how they did
That
it
was
in the
all
old
they did in
days.
the flashbacks.
They could have
on
like
Better Call
taped
Saul.
him up a little bit.
Yeah.
Like Bob Odenkirk in Better Call Saul is literally doing flashbacks to like a 20-year-old version of himself, and I don't think they're using any CGI. It's just makeup and low lights.
Yeah.
I'm sure I told the story at some point, but I used to see Kyle MacLachlan like not that irregular. I probably saw him half dozen times, like sending his kid to school because he like lived in a building that was right near my office in
That's
Chelsea
amazing.
back in the day, and he's just like a regular New York guy.
That's one of those
Seemed
like
cool.
deep cut celebrities that would be awesome to meet.
Yeah, I mean, I just was like riding a bike usually by him, and I'd be like, yeah, there he is again.
Fallout, by the way, I finally finished it.
So good.
It's incredible as
It's
an
amazing.
adaptation of the weirdest thing you've ever seen.
Yeah.
The accuracy, the casting, the storytelling, it tells a
Everything.
better story than any of those games have ever told.
Yeah.
But like while still staying true to like the ideas behind all of those stories.
Yeah, that's what works. Is like they took the milieu and some of the narrative elements, but they like picked and choosed a little bit.
Yeah. It's freaking brilliant. I
it was
can't
really
wait for
good.
season 2.
I mean,
Yeah.
casting Walton Goggins was like the
Oh
best
well,
move.
he's the man,
So good. Yeah.
just the man.
So good.
Let's see. Some of these are not questions. Can we talk about how bad the costuming on the Strangers was compared to the first two?
I don't even remember what they're wearing.
I didn't really notice it, except
Well,
for I
the
did notice
women
the guy
are in
was more
this-
disheveled.
Very infrequent. Like I feel like you don't even see the two.
It's like the
women
original
killers.
Strangers by way of Portland hipsters, sort of, right?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, she's just got like a denim shirt on and no pants.
Straight Chilling Podcast says, "How is this movie so impossibly bad and have the best horror opening weekend of 2024?" That's where I got that detail from. John, do we know if that's true?
I mean, I don't know how they're defining that because I don't think it.
I can't believe it beat Night Swim.
Well, that wouldn't be that hard, I don't think. But I don't know. I can look this up, but
Best
I
movie
don't-
about a killer pool all year.
in any event, continue. I can give you the stats in a second. But
Next up, Skylar, do you answer the door when someone knocks or do you actively hide and wait like a normal person?
Yes, of course. I'm not a
I
maniac.
do not answer the door. No. And I got a big bay window. They could just stick their head over here and look at me. I'm still not answering the door. I don't give a shit.
Yeah, no. I mean, I have like a camera, but there's always delay, so I usually see people walking away, and I'm like, yeah, I made the right choice. I don't want to.
If you don't have my number, I don't need to talk to you. That's how I feel.
fair enough.
Everyone in the chat's just like, wow.
You don't live in the
thanks.
burbs, John. You're not getting random, like,
Oh, dude, not true. We get the random.
do you?
Well, because
How do they get
I
past the
mean,
doorman?
We don't have a doorman. That's how. And
No
So,
How
Dorian,
the
there's,
John?
like-
mighty have fallen.
Wow, what happened?
you have regular buzzers. You have like a buzzer, and so
The
people can just,
pandemic
like,
really
roll-
took you down a notch, John.
Yeah, there you go, Eric. The not working is it's tough on the rent situation. The
Now
but
you're
yeah,
gonna tell
so
us that there's no one to like dab your mouth after every meal.
we have no, we have issues with people coming in and stealing packages. So they'll like buzz
yeah.
and they'll be like, "It's Amazon," and then they like just come in and then they like
Yeah. Porch
literally they will
pirates.
just like open up the boxes in the
Ugh.
lobby, and yeah, it's not great.
It's nice that they
Um,
open them up because, like, then maybe if you get crappy stuff, they won't get stolen.
Yeah, no, that's true. They don't want to steal shit. That's yeah. So, but yeah.
Two more. Schnecky91. Have you ever said "don't be a stranger" to someone? I have, and I'm not sure I've ever meant it.
I think I've said
I've
"don't
never
be a
said
stranger."
Yeah, I
No,
probably
I've
said
never
it. Like,
said that in my life.
don't be a
That
stranger.
sounds like something someone in Fallout would say. It sounds very like 1950s to me.
Well, I do like retro things.
And I largely want people to be strangers, so I wouldn't exalt them not to. You know?
Hey, it'd be great if you just don't come around anymore.
Yeah. I've seen you enough.
It's been wonderful.
This is the
Yeah.
perfect amount.
I want you to start doing that and then filming people's reactions. You're like, and this is enough interaction.
This
for
has
us
been the
forever."
perfect amount. Yeah. That would
Yeah.
be honest, wouldn't it? That would be a
Yeah.
very like neurodivergent thing to do. Just be like, just tell the truth in social interactions.
And to some degree, I would appreciate it because, like,
Yeah.
then my my
just
imposter
straightforward,
syndrome
yeah.
could be like correct. Like, you are.
I actually
terrible.
will do that with my friends
Yeah.
and my family. I'll be
You'll
like,
say I've had enough of you.
I'm out. Yep.
I feel like
full
you've
up on
told
this.
me that. I don't know. you
Yeah.
know.
I've said that to you.
I mean,
I
I'm
remember
definitely
at the-
experiencing you just like disappear.
At the you've seen me Irish goodbye now. Yeah. At the 2019 meetup, after drinking at that bar for like 12 hours, I walked directly up to John and I just said, in the most dire tone possible, "You need to get me out of here."
It's true.
And he did. He called the car and we left.
Yeah.
Nice.
He swept me away.
So
Real hero
it does
like
look like this was the biggest. I mean, this is like depends how you want to define it. Like Ghostbusters did a much bigger opening than this movie. Just to be clear.
that. I wouldn't call it horror though.
No, well,
It's
exactly. Like,
adjacent, sure.
Civil War also much bigger, but like it's
Pure horror opening.
it just eked out Night Swim by like a
See?
$500,000. Yeah.
I had a feeling it was Night Swim. That's sad. But
Well, it's been grim so far.
we got one more question, John, and we are about to find out who the perverts are.
Oh,
Ooh. I think we
I already
can
know the
guess.
answer. This is great. From This Is Chris. Are the strangers when you sit on both hands instead of one?
Yes.
Food for thought, John. Think about that until we meet again.
even I'm familiar with that one, Eric. Even me.
Good. I'm glad. That's a gem. That's a 90s gem,
Yeah.
you know?
I don't think it works if you sit on both hands, right? Because you need an assist. No?
Yeah, I don't like the idea of incapacitating both hands because it's based. First of all, it doesn't work anyway.
Yeah, I was like,
You can't do anything with your hand when it's, you know.
Yeah.
I mean, you can.
No.
if
And
you
how do
You're
you
alone
like
that
slam the door
coordinated.
shut if your mom accidentally walks in? You need one hand.
You need one hand for safety in case,
Yes.
right, a situation arises.
Why is your mom around?
You ever been 13, John?
Yeah.
You know, like what? You're not getting privacy.
Yeah. I have a
Sometimes it's just
10-year-old now,
you.
so that terrifies
Sometimes
me.
there's just air in an unlocked door between someone walking in on you.
Have you ever been the walker inner?
No. Have you?
I don't think so.
I mean, tell me the story. You brought it up.
So, okay, so I used to live in this trailer with an ex-boyfriend turned friend.
Oh my god, I love the story already.
And
Okay.
he was a teacher, and he would come home after work and be very tired and need to take a nap every day. And I respected that. And I, for months and months, never interrupted. But then his mom called, and she was like having a medical issue. And I was like, "Do you need me to wake him? He's taking a nap. Do you need me to wake
This
him
is
up?"
an episode of Seinfeld.
Is it?
There's an episode where George. Yeah, George's mom catches him jerking off, and she has like a heart attack.
Yeah, that is accurate.
But so like we had pocket doors because it was a trailer. So I like crept over with the phone and just slid the door open only to see what was going on. And he did like a full tuck and roll off the bed. And I was like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. I didn't see anything. I didn't see anything. I didn't see anything. But your mom is on the phone.
You Fast Times at Ridgemont Hide him.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so he was like, I heard him be like, hey, Mom. And then another time, because apparently the seal was broken. It was like a trailer, so it was like a straight shot, and my door was at the back, and the TV was at the front, and so I just opened my own door to like go to the bathroom or something, and there he was in line of sight, sitting on a radiator, watching something called Check Please, and that's CZECH.
Oh, brother. Yeah. That's,
And I was just like,
okay.
oh man, and I just slid the door.
Can we back
closed.
up to the sitting on a radiator part?
Yeah. Wait. What?
So he had like a plug-in radiator, and and to be fair, the trailer was quite cold. Like there were times in the morning if you peed, it would like sit on the top of the ice, and so I think
Rachel,
he just
what the hell was happening in your life during this time period?
I don't know, man.
That's a crazy story that I've ever heard.
I've
And my
never heard of
friends are
the pea
degenerates.
sitting on top of the ice, but
Yeah,
I believe it.
I don't know, man. You were 21 once, right? Like you lived in some like insane squatter.
No.
No? Okay.
No.
Just kidding. Me neither then. But yeah. So but yeah, so it was cold in the house, and so I assume he, needed a little warmth.
God. Well,
know,
maybe after the first time, he just like increased his risk tolerance.
I
was
think
like,
he
"Ah,
just
fuck
was
it.
like,
She's
the
already seen it
seal is
once."
broken. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I was just like, and we didn't talk about it for like 3 days, and then we had a conversation about nap respect and letting
how did
people
that
nap
go?
in. Like he was just like, we were just having breakfast or something, and he was just like, so
He brought it up.
yes.
So you walked in
Wow.
on me jerking off. Can we talk about it?
Well, he's like, so can we talk about closed doors in the house and nap respect? I was like, we sure can.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah.
Did he have a sense of humor about it at all?
Oh, I
at
mean,
least? Or,
not
it's
for
kind of-
about
it's a-
72 hours, but
it's a
then
little
after
funny.
that,
Yeah.
it's very funny. And like, it's a story that like, if it comes up in his presence now, we laugh about it.
You guys are
know,
still
it's-
friends? Nice.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. Now, like, well, however many years later, that's definitely like dinner table. Yeah. Like,
And I mean,
party.
he's like that
story.
weirdo friend that you have that like, just like he is human Mercury in retrograde, like weird shit happens to him constantly. Like,
I do know people like that. I try not to keep them too close to me, but I do know them.
yeah. Yeah. I don't loan him anything, but I love him.
Oh my God, this took a turn tonight. I don't even know where to go from here. All right. Well, that's it, John.
We did it. Save up
movie's
2
terrible.
more coming, Eric.
Liz says, I just imagined the dwelling of Toxie in Toxic Avenger.
You're not wrong. The entire trailer was just like full of cigarette butts and like satanic buttons. Like it was just
I did have a friend who lived in a trailer for a while that we used to go and play beer pong at on his like trailer kitchen table. So like I've been
It's a
adjacent
vibe.
to situations like that. Yeah.
it's I mean I'll
There's no
save that
rules in
story
the
for
trailer
another
park.
day.
I don't know if you know that, Rachel. You just do whatever you want.
Oh yeah, I know. We used to shoot a BB gun in the house to see who would do the dishes until I accidentally, it was one of those we broke open, but I accidentally closed it on my hand, and I was like, we're done with this game.
Oh my lord.
And that is
'Cause it was
just
a pump. You
scratching
had
the
to pump it?
surface. No,
Is
you
that what you're saying?
cracked it and put the pellet in, and then you closed it. But I somehow got my hand
you
in it, so when
pinched-
it closed, it
Yikes.
closed on my hand. I had to go and be like, I need you to open this. And so
Holy
he had to
shit.
take it over his knee to
Yikes.
pop it back open. And that was the end of shooting a. Also, I was better at it than him, and he was mad because he had to keep doing the dishes.
Can we end every episode you're on now by just you telling stories from when you were 20?
Dude, I got a lot of
'Cause
trailer
I
park
have-
stories.
yeah, I have a sense there's more. I'm sensing there's more.
Oh, there's a lot.
I got a sixth sense. I don't know what it is.
I'll bring visual aids next time so you can get an idea of what was going on in that trailer park.
Oh, John, what do we got next week?
We decided we're gonna watch Stop Motion.
Stop. Right.
Yeah, this got a limited theatrical run. I think it's an IFC joint. It's available to stream.
Rachel, will I enjoy it more than this movie?
Yes.
Okay, thank God. Okay.
It's a slow burn, but it has a pretty great ending.
So yeah, that's what we're doing. And then is there more theatrical stuff coming soon? I'm seeing so many trailers.
But it's
stand
like, I
by.
saw
Hold
the
on.
TD Glow.
I just saw the
that's-
trailer for this bananas looking Halle Berry movie that basically looks like a Quiet Place ripoff. Like, what is that?
Never Let Go.
Never Let Go. Yeah.
Yeah. So Eric,
It's like
we
Quiet
will
Place
be.
meets The Bird Box. That was that.
Yeah, it does look like bird. It looks very bird boxy. We'll be doing stop motion. We then have In a Violent Nature, and then we
Yes.
have The
I'm way-
Watchers.
Okay. Cool. I don't remember what The Watchers is.
That's
Shyamalan's daughter's
Shyamalan
movie.
Jr.
Oh, okay. Okay. You just said it right.
I got a
John.
longer trailer for it. It looks, I don't know. It looks like it could be interesting.
At least
It has that like creepy looking lady. What's her name? I know I should know her name. With like the very white hair. She's been in lots of. She's like a very specific character actress.
Why did I think
don't
it had
know, John.
Hunter Schafer in it? Is that not true? I might be blending it with Cuckoo.
No. Well, I don't know about that, but Hunter Schafer is in that there's an A24 thing. Is it a Yorgos thing?
Oh my god! I
Or-
forgot there's a new Yorgos movie coming. I got the trailer for. I couldn't believe it.
Yeah.
I was like, wait,
No.
what?
Yeah.
Is that the one though with Hunter Schafer in it?
Well, she's in Cuckoo. Oh, Dakota Fanning.
Cuckoo.
is
That's
in
what I'm
this.
talking about.
Yeah,
Cuckoo.
yeah, she's in Cuckoo. Dakota
That's coming
Fanning's
down
in
the
this one.
pipeline too.
Ooh, and Georgina Campbell. I like her. Yeah, it's gonna be good.
right. I think we can
Yeah.
wrap here, John.
Yeah, no, we're good.
Don't forget you can check out a stream, patreon.com/bloodygoodhorror. You could have been on and listened to Rachel and I talking about Vanderpump Rules this evening.
To be continued.
Yeah, that seems worth
Lucky
the money
you.
to me. You can also now we're hearing ads in the show. If you'd like to get no ads, just go join our Patreon at any amount, and you'll get a feed with an ad-free show. It's usually out early as well. So there you go. Rachel, where can people find you?
Well, you can find me all across the Zombie Girls podcast network. If you want to find me on the internets and you're not that creepy guy from my 20s, then you can find me at ZG Podcasts or at Ragey Pants.
Love it. I am Eric BGH on Instagram. That is my main platform these days. And you can follow John around Manhattan. If you can
Good.
find him.
Good luck to you.
He'll be on a bike following Kyle McLaughlin.
Just riding by Kyle McLaughlin's apartment building.
Yeah. All right. That's going to do it. Hope you enjoyed the show, and we'll talk to you next week.
See yous.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.